Hello, boys and girls. We are going to be sharing today lesson 11.3, chapter 11, lesson 3. We're going to be talking about units of weight, customary units of weight. You can find this information on page 484 in your math reference book. So when we're thinking about customary units of weight, what are some of the terms that we think of? We think of weight. We think of pound. An abbreviation for pound, we've talked about that, is LB, or when we're talking about pounds, it's LBS. Ounce, the abbreviation for ounce, you'll see that written as OZ, ounce. Okay? And ton, and that's a capital T. Okay? Here is the key concept. You'll use this information to help you make conversions from pounds to ounces or tons to pounds and so on. When you're thinking about these different units of weight, one things that you can think of that are equivalent to those weights would be, say, a bread would be very similar to how much an ounce would be. A tomato might weigh about a pound. And then when you're thinking about a ton, here we've got a buffalo, but I think of like big cows, anything of that nature is about a ton. You can think about that. If we are looking at some of our other ways to kind of help us convert from units of weight, and then we've used this in the past when we're talking about length and capacity. When we apply that to weight, you can see tons are the largest of the units of weight, all the way down to ounces. And here are your conversions. When you're going from ounces to tons or to pounds, when you go from smaller to larger, you're going to divide. And when you go from larger to smaller, you're going to multiply. So you can use this to help you as well. All right. So, for example, if we had a truck that weighs about 2 tons, how many pounds does the truck weigh? Well, we know that 1 ton is equivalent to 2,000 pounds. We're going, and we've got 2 tons, so we're going, in this case, we're going from larger to smaller, so we know we multiply. You're going from 2 tons, and we want to convert it to pounds. So if there are 2,000 pounds in 1 ton, and we've got 2 tons, we would say 2 times 2,000, and we would get, we know that 2 times 2 is 4, and with mental math, we know we just add the 3 zeros onto it. So 2 times 2,000 would be 4,000. So a truck would weigh about 4,000 pounds. In this case, we have a community that's recycling 3 tons of cans. How many pounds did the community recycle? So again, you know that 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds, and you've got 3 tons, so you'd multiply 2 times 3, we know that's 6, and then just go ahead and add the 3 zeros behind that. So 3 tons of cans would be 6,000 pounds. Okay, so sometimes we've had some really nice problems where they work out evenly. They don't always work out that nicely, but using the math skills that we already have, we can solve them. Privet needs 4 3/4 pounds of carrots to feed his rabbits. How many ounces of carrots does he have? Well, we know that in 1 pound there are 16 ounces. So what you would want to do would be to take this 4 times 16, and you know that 4 times 6 is
24.
24. I'm going to put down my 4, carry my 2. 4 times 1 is
4.
And plus 2 is
6.
So we know that 4 pounds is 64 ounces. Now we have to figure out this 3/4 of a pound. Okay, so when you've got a fraction like that, what I would suggest doing would be figure out what 1/4 of 16 is. Okay, to figure out what 1/4 of 16 is, or 1/4 of something, you would divide by 4. 1/4 of 16 is 4 ounces. So then you go ahead and you add those 4 ounces onto the 64 ounces that you have, and you're going to end up with 68 ounces.
Except for you'd have 3/4 instead of
3/4,
1/4.
excuse me.
So you
And
have to
multiply
add it
that
3 times.
times
Correct.
times 3, so that would be 12. So we figured out, I'm sorry, we figured out 1/4 of 16 was 4, and we've got 3 of them, so we're going to multiply 4 times 3, and you would get 12, and add that onto the 64. Here they have it kind of drawn out for us. We know that we have 4 pounds, so we have 4 times 16, and then we added on the 12. Okay, so we ended up with, that is equivalent to 76 ounces of carrots. That's a lot of carrots. Okay. Pax feeds his dogs 8.5 pounds of food a day. How many ounces of this? Again, we're going to apply that same method to this mixed number. So what I would suggest doing is figuring out how many ounces 8 pounds is. So we would take the 16 ounces per pound times the number of pounds we have. So 16 times 8, you know 6 times 8 is
48.
Carry my 4, 8 times 1 is
8.
plus 4 is
12.
Okay, now we have to figure out what 1/2 of 16 is. So that we know that 1/2, to find 1/2 of 16, or 1/2 of something, you divide by 2. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. So you would add that on, and you would end up with 136 ounces. So we're going to need 136 ounces of food per day. Now, we're going from smaller to larger. And again, when we look at that, and we're going from smaller to larger, we're going to divide. Okay, so if you have, you're going to convert 128 ounces to pounds. So if we wanted to do that, we're going again from smaller to larger, so we're going to divide. There are 16 ounces in a pound, so we would take 128 divided by 16, and if I were you, I would take, and with all of these things, all of these conversions, you can use your calculator. So in order to do that, you're going to take your calculator, you're going to push in 128, you're going to hit the division sign, and then we know that there are 16 ounces in a pound, so I would hit divide by 16, and then you gave me a faulty calculator, Mr. Bessie. This one doesn't work.
We'll try.
I bet yours at home works really well. So, oh, this is beautiful. 128 divided by 16, and this is working out beautifully. I get 8. So you can do that. Okay, and here they show you how 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16 is going to equal 128.
It worked fine when I tried it. Just saying.
Here, again, we're going from a smaller unit of measure to a larger unit of measure, so we know we're going to divide. We've got 160 ounces, and we're going to convert that to pounds. We know there are 16 ounces in a pound, so this one is kind of nice because we can do that mentally. But if you wanted to, put in 160 divided by 16, and that equals 10. Okay, so there you go. Now, again, sometimes it doesn't always work out quite as nice. Here we have 6,500 pounds, and we're going to convert it to tons. So we know we're going from a smaller unit of measure, again, to a larger unit of measure, so we're going to divide. We know that 2,000 pounds equals 1 ton. So if we've got 6,500 pounds, we're going to take 6,500 and we're going to divide that by 2,000. Okay? So this one, we can go ahead and use mental math. Again, we know that 2 times 3 is 6,000, and we have this 500 remaining. When we're going to convert, and we've got this remaining remainder, we're going to take our remainder, put it over our divisor. So we're going to put 500 over 2,000, and by looking at that, we know that we can simplify that fraction, okay? What goes into both 500 and 2,000? Well, we've got 2 zeros here, and so we know that it's going to be some unit of 10, but is there something even bigger? One of the checks that we talk about is when we're simplifying fraction, check to see if the numerator goes into the denominator. Your greatest common factor is the numerator. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to divide by 500. When I divide the numerator by 500, I would get 1. When I divide the denominator by 500, I would get 4. So our answer is going to end up being 3 and 1/4. Okay? Ooh. They're going to go through it and maybe give us a little different view of how to solve it, but essentially we're going to come up with the same answer. The remainder 500 means there are 500 pounds out of a ton left over. So again, they simplified 500 over 2,000 and they got 1/4 too. Okay, so 6,500 pounds is equivalent to 3 tons and 500 pounds, or we can put that into just tons and express that as 3 and 1/4. Here, they give us a problem very similar to that. We've got 9,000 pounds and we're converting it to tons. Again, we know that there are 2,000 pounds in 1 ton, so we're going to divide 9,000 by 2,000. Using our mental math, I know that 2 goes into 9 4 times, okay, and I know that I'm going to move that over a little bit. So 4 times 2,000 is going to be 8,000, and I'm going to subtract, and I get 1,000 remaining. Now, looking at my answers, I'm going to decide whether I'm going to express that as a decimal or as a mixed number. And when I look at our answers, we know they're going to express it as a mixed number. So I'm going to take my remainder, 1,000, over my divisor, 2,000, and then I've got some simplifying to do. Again, if your numerator goes into your denominator, that is your greatest common factor, and so that's what you're going to divide by. And we know that 1,000 divided by 1,000 is 1, 2,000 divided by 1,000 is 2, so our answer is going to become 4 and 1/2, and we see that over here, dun, da, 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 D. And that's it. Boys and girls, we hope you are doing very well. Always feel free to reach out and ask us any questions that you might have. Hope you're having a